Most of us share a quiet fear about getting older, losing our memory. We tend to imagine cognitive decline as a switch that suddenly flips when we hit our 70s or 80s. But neuroscientists now know the reality is much more subtle. The loss of mental clarity is a slow trajectory, a biological process that begins decades before the very first symptom ever shows up. A recent 30-year study tracking nearly 160,000 people has finally mapped this timeline. The data points directly to the specific foods that protect physical brain volume, and even more importantly, the exact decade of your life when you need to eat them. If the foundation for cognitive decline is laid years in advance, it forces a critical question. When is the optimal moment to intervene and protect your brain? With the constant noise of modern fad diets, we can't rely on guesswork. We need rigorous, longitudinal data to prove what actually preserves the physical structure of our mind over a lifetime. The numbers reveal that cognitive health functions as a responsive system, profoundly shaped by the daily dietary choices you make 20 to 30 years prior. To find the signal in the noise, researchers tracked 159,347 health professionals continuously from 1986 all the way to 2017. This was a massive, highly disciplined undertaking. Every 4 years, they used validated assessments to meticulously record how the participants' eating habits evolved over a full 3 decades. Out of 6 major dietary patterns evaluated, the DASH diet emerged as the top performer. Researchers originally developed this specific regimen to treat high blood pressure, and it has now shown significant crossover benefits for neurological health. Highest adherence to the DASH diet showed a 41% lower risk of early neurodegeneration, known as subjective cognitive decline. Secondary findings on the MIND diet proved strict adherence actively delayed brain aging by over 2 years by preserving total gray matter volume. These diets work by systematically attacking the physical drivers of decline. They regulate blood pressure, reduce insulin resistance, and suppress systemic inflammation. The data points to a clear biological rule. The exact same physiological systems that protect your heart and metabolism are the ones that shield your brain. The specific foods you eat form only one part of the equation. The most crucial finding, hidden in this 30-year dataset, was the exact timing of the intervention. The strongest association with preserved cognitive health did not happen when people started eating well in retirement. The maximum benefit occurred when the DASH diet was strictly followed between the ages of 45 and 54. On this 30-year timeline, researchers linked cognitive tests to dietary habits recorded 26 years prior. By intentionally stopping diet score updates in the years preceding the tests, they created a deliberate pause to rule out reverse causation, ensuring early memory loss wasn't causing dietary changes. By locking in that methodological safeguard, the research points to a directional relationship. Dietary patterns in midlife appear to directly influence cognitive trajectories decades later, independent of any early cognitive symptoms altering your diet. The decade spanning your late 40s and early 50s serves as a critical window of opportunity to intercept neurodegeneration. Understanding this timeline gives us immense agency. If we commit to an intervention strategy in mid-adulthood, we can actively push back against future cognitive decline. Translating these clinical findings into your daily routine comes down to a practical start tomorrow grocery blueprint based directly on the DASH and MIND indices. Your primary goal is to stock up on highly protective foods. Prioritize dark leafy greens, fish like salmon, whole grains, legumes, and healthy fats like olive oil. You do not have to eliminate every indulgence. The data shows that moderate amounts of wine, tea, and coffee are completely acceptable within these parameters. However, you must be strict about cutting the foods that drive decline. Red and processed meats, refined grains, sugary sweets, and fried foods are associated with accelerated neurological damage. There is also a surprising nuance in the study. Excessive intake of nuts and seeds was linked to a higher risk of cognitive decline in some models. Even with healthy foods, moderation is required. Integrating these specific nutritional choices during your midlife years is a primary evidence-based strategy for long-term brain maintenance.